Welcome to Christian Parent Crazy World, the podcast that tackles tough topics to help you be a godly parent in an ungodly world. I am your host, Catherine Segars, and in today's episode, we will tackle this very timely question. Where can we find faith-centered, family-focused entertainment during the holidays and year-round? You know, I often get this question. The agenda is loud and clear in a lot of television entertainment these days, and people want to know where to find movies and television shows that celebrate strong families and the Christian faith. My special guest today is Jill Wagner, an actress who was a favorite on Hallmark for many years and has now moved over to Great American Family. She has a new documentary film that is, in a word, stunning and heartwarming. That's 2 words, actually, but they both apply. You are going to hear all about that today, and you will hear about this amazing network committed to bringing the kind of entertainment we're looking for. That's the plan for this episode of Christian Parent Crazy World. So let's get started. If you have ever watched Countdown to Christmas on Hallmark, you are probably familiar with my guest today. Jill Wagner has been one of their leading ladies for many years, and now she is a leading lady for Great American Family. In our conversation today, Jill shares the deeply personal journey behind her latest project, Christmas on the Farm, which premieres on Great American Family on December 23rd. This project transcends your typical holiday fare because it is not fiction. It's real life. It's a slice of Jill's life. We discuss her journey from Hallmark to Great American Family, the importance of staying true to her Christian values in her career, her passion to help those in need, and the beautiful simplicity of her life on the farm, which is so beautiful. So cuddle up, grab some coffee, and join Jill and me in a conversation that celebrates the simple things at Christmas time. And one final note, if you are interested in finding the Great American Family Network, stick around after the interview because I have some very practical notes to help you acquire this faith-forward channel. Jill, it is such an honor to have you here. Welcome to Christian Parent Crazy World.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We've got 5 kids, and I actually stumbled across you years ago. We watched this little show on TV. It was a hilarious little obstacle course show. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That would be, Wipeout.
Yeah. Wipeout. I'm like, suddenly one day this woman appears, stunningly beautiful woman, and I thought you were hilariously funny.
Aww.
I actually remembered you from that.
Thank you.
And then the next thing I know, I see you over on Hallmark. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember her. She's so funny. That same humor, that same effervescent personality came through in all of your characters. And you quickly, seriously, my mom, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, they're all huge fans of that genre of television. And we all agreed, okay, Jill is one of her favorites.
Thank you.
I've been tracking you then, and then you came over to Great American Family, which we all migrated over. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit, but I'm so excited to have you here and talk to you. You have an incredible new documentary that's coming out. It's called Christmas on the Farm on December 23rd. Tell us a little bit about that.
It is such an honor to be able to bring this to the screen. I have to say this is probably one of the most near and dear projects to my heart because it's real. It is my heart. It's my friends. It's my family. It's my faith. It's this little community that I live in. It's just so intimate and personal to me. And I feel very blessed to be able to share it with everybody. And I think we're at a time now where I think, or at least I needed to be reminded about the really important things in life, which is faith, family, friends, giving, and a little bit of food in there. Of course, you couldn't leave the food out at Christmas.
Please don't.
But I feel like it just strips it down and I just wanted to get back to the simple things in life that bring us joy at Christmas.
Oh, that's so true. What struck me about it is it's kind of like, okay, we all watch the movies. We love them. I've watched so many of the movies you're in, but this is kind of like after the movie, after the kiss, after the kids.
Yeah.
And you guys, you're in this small town on a farm. The scenery is stunning. So I was watching the screener last night, and my daughter, I have 5 kids, but my youngest is 7, didn't even ask her. She comes and crawls up next to me because she hears your daughters laughing, and she gets so engaged with life on the farm and the animals and your faith. And you have a chapel on your farm.
That was the selling point of this farm. I mean, it was a little rundown. I mean, what I will say, this whole place was, it just needed a lot of love. And you could tell what it used to be, right? Like it was, and it had a feel here. I don't know if you've ever been to a certain place in the world where you just feel like God's here, like God's here. And as run down and old and broken as she looked, it felt like God was here. And especially when I walked in that little chapel, and me and my husband, you know, we really were struggling because we couldn't afford to buy this place. And it was, but it was just like, I was like, no, I see our family here. I see little kids in the front yard. I see it all. Like it was just no doubt in my mind. I was like, I don't know what I've got to sell. I will sell everything. I'll sell my car. I'll sell this. I was just, you know, trying to think of ways to make it happen. And we went in that little chapel and prayed about it. And I do believe that this was where we were supposed to be. And it's so special to us. I mean, that view, I say it every day when I wake up. I'm like, that's God's artwork right there. That's it. That's all I need. I mean, I love this house, but I don't need the house. I just need that view.
I am so fed by that too. I live in a place in rural, on the outskirts of a town in Alabama, out in the country. And it just feeds your spirit. And I saw that from your front porch there. I was like, salivate. Yeah, the house is gorgeous. The chapel is amazing. But that view, what God created, right?
It is.
And you see that. And I love that you're talking about, you saw your kids there. You saw your life there. You saw the plan that God had for your life there. And I think that's so beautiful. That's what I've loved. I've spent some time on your Instagram page. You're so faith forward. And this, I've never seen anything like this on a television, you know, like we kind of get to know you through your films and maybe your Instagram page, but this special is so different because we get to see your real life, your everyday life, which is kind of dreamy, not gonna lie.
I mean, look, of course we don't show you when everything breaks down in this old house and we're fixing it, and you know what I mean? We don't show you all of that, but it was very important to me. And when I brought this in, I wanted this to be authentic and real and genuine to what our family is. And I didn't want to create, you know, you watch some of these docuseries or these pieces and you're just like, oh, this sounds like producers are just telling them what to say. And it feels very fake. And I think that's the opposite of who I am and who my family and my friends are and what this little town is about. We wanted to create something that was just real. And this is the little town I live in. These are the people that surround us. This is their hearts. This is my children. This is my dad, who is, I believe in some ways could be Santa Claus. Like it's like all the things, you know, and I know we all have those beautiful family moments, and I didn't want to try to create this ideal world that is not attainable. I was hoping that you would maybe look at your own life and say, I have that too. I have that, those people I care about. I have those neighbors. I have everything here. I can go give. I can go do, you know, so I was hoping it would make people reflect on their own life and just see how lucky we are to be here another day.
You're so right. And I did. I really did, because I do live in a part of the country that's beautiful. Even if it's not right out your front porch, it's not, it's, you know,
it's beautiful in its own right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you live in a city, like, you know, wherever it is, just look out. There's always something that God created. Always.
Yeah. You have to share with us, because I didn't know I needed a box of tissues when I was watching. Because you invite this family that was deeply affected by Hurricane Helene to your home for Christmas dinner. And I honestly, particularly in his speech to the community, because it wasn't just you that gave to this couple and their two young sons. Yeah. It was the entire community. I got really choked up there. Share with us what happened.
Well, first of all, I knew that I wanted to be some giving aspect of the show. And originally it was supposed to be a veteran family. My husband and I are we're very involved in every aspect that we can give to the military. And so when I was looking, Helene had, that happened. And it felt like, I just felt like I had to. I mean, those are my people. I'm from North Carolina. So I was just like, okay, we have to pivot. I know I was looking for a veteran. Now I'm going to find a family that has been affected by Helene. And it just so happened that we were scouring the GoFundMes and Michaela popped up. A nurse that she works with had posted a GoFundMe about her and her family because she was like, I know she wouldn't ask for help, but they've lost everything. And Michaela happens to work for a veteran hospital and oddly enough, at some point in her career, she worked for the same hospital that my grandfather had went to after World War II. He had TB and he went to this one hospital. She had worked for that hospital. So it was just really, it just felt like I needed to help them. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. And if you could have seen behind the scenes what was happening and how we were just struggling to figure out, like, what is it? What are we going to do? And how this community stepped up and said, I know what we're going to do. We're just going to all come together and we're going to help them. And it wasn't a question. Like, it just wasn't, I don't think people truly I mean, yes, you'll see it in the show, but I wish there would have been cameras here for the whole thing just to show you how amazing these people are. Because all I had to do is say, hey, I need some help with this little family. And I had a million hands raise up. What do you need? What can we do? I had friends from California. I just made a call to California and all my friends in California sent money donations to them. I mean, so I'm actually, we've raised a certain amount of money and I'm very happy for that, but I am not going to stop there. I'm going to get them a house somehow. So we're going to continue until I'm hoping that this airs and then I can put their GoFundMe up. I'm hoping people help them, but I promised them, I was like, I'm going to get you a home because they don't have one and they have two little boys. They need a home, and they're hardworking people and they're good people. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And I know I can find a lot of friends that are going to help me as well.
Hey, mamas and papas, we are spending a lot of money this Christmas. Wouldn't you like to get something for free? Well, I have a lot of free resources for my subscribers over at CatherineSegars.com. I have scripture lists to pray over your children. I have a scripture list for couples who are struggling with pregnancy loss or infertility. I have a bookmark to keep in your Bible so you can pray over our leaders. I have a bundle of resources for prodigal parents and an ebook, Beyond the Lies, uncovering 5 myths our culture spreads to mothers. And they're all free, along with my weekly emails that will give you the inside scoop on every new episode of Christian Parent Crazy World, as well as transcripts and the lowdown on all my other interviews and articles. So head over to CatherineSegars.com, that's Catherine with a C, in order to become a CPCW insider. Now back to my conversation with Jill Wagner. That is awesome. It was so touching. In the few moments we have left, I would love to talk to you for a little bit about your migration over at A Great American Family. I tell you, I know a lot of actors have done that, and a lot of viewers have done that, myself being one of them. We picked our streaming service based on who offered Great American Media, Great American Family. I was just at a small group recently, actually, and one of the ladies was just commenting on the programming, the content from some other networks, and how the only one she'll watch now is Great American Family. Yeah. And all of the films that she sees are there. So what has that been like for you as an actor to be welcomed into a family that is so faith-forward and family-focused?
Well, first of all, I'm a loyal creature. And Bill Abbott has been my champion. Bill Abbott is the CEO of Great American Family and was the CEO of Hallmark, really built Hallmark to what it was. He was always my champion. He was always, when I needed a job, he gave me a job. He was just always, he believed in me as an actor. He believed in me as a producer. And when people put their faith and when they, put the stamp of approval on me and they believe in me, I do the same. I'm very loyal. And so when Bill left and then he asked me, he said, hey, would you come in and work for me? I can't say anything more. I believe in what he stands for. I believe he's a good man. And he helped me when I was down and out. And I'm like, when anybody that helps me like that, when they come calling, I say, yes, sir. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm proud to be on the network. I think as I've gotten older, I've started to understand how important my faith is. I didn't really know that when I was younger, unfortunately, wasted a lot of my youth, but I know it now. And I'm very proud of it. And I think maybe a little more people should be a little more vocal about that in the industry. But I'm certainly proud of it and I don't have anything to hide. So yeah, I love the network.
Oh, well, I do too. Like I said, we made our choice for a streaming service based on who offered it. And I love your new movie. I already saw it. I've actually, not going to lie, I saw it twice. Christmas Under the Northern Lights, the one you do with Jesse. Yeah, you had a really touching scene in there where the two of you are kind of talking about purpose and life and how God was involved in that and in nature. And it was just, it's really lovely to see Christian values, Christian messages, Christian themes represented in the entertainment that we have, because we're watching things and it's nice to have that there. And I can see why Bill Abbott was such a fan of yours, because I am too. I know a lot of people are. By the way, you probably don't know this. I actually have an MA in theater, so I'm pretty picky about my actors. Yeah, I spent a dozen years on the stage doing everything from Shakespeare to musicals to comedy improv. And so when I watch the movies, there's different calibers of talent, but in my opinion, you're up at the top. And I really always love watching you because you're so fun. You're so hilarious. Your characters are great. Thank you. I loved you from Wipeout all the way forward.
Well, thank you. And I have to remind your viewers of a faith-based project coming out. It's called Homestead. And it comes out on December the 20th. Homestead. It is through Angel Studios. And as soon as you watch the movie, the TV show, you can go watch the TV show in which I step in. I play a pregnant therapist who actually does not believe in God. And it was interesting for me to play a character like that who has an arc to, and she's going to have a big arc throughout the series. And that was so interesting to me. And yes, so I'm very excited about that project. And I think Angel Studios is very happy about it. And I'm actually going to see it tomorrow with a bunch of friends of mine. So go see it, anybody at the theaters.
Well, I can't wait to check that out as well, and sometimes somebody's got to play those roles. My daughter, my third child, just got cast in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe as the witch, and she wanted to be Susan. And I'm like, darling, the witch is a great role, and somebody's got to play her.
You're right. You're right. Because without the bad, there's the good, bad, and ugly, and there's all the in between. And without those other characters, you don't see the good, So we have to have, I get. Sometimes people come to me, they're like, well, I don't like this character you played and I can't believe you do that. And I'm like, well, I've played a lot of bad characters. As an actor, I think people have to understand that that's not who we are. When I get up to heaven, I'm not going as any of my characters. I'm going as Jill. So I will represent for myself. But in the projects that I choose, there is always a message now. And even something as strong as Lioness, in which, yes, there's been some controversy about that. There is a message in there that is most important to me, and that is honoring and respecting our men and women who serve. And I will do that to the day that I die. I married one. So, and I think it's a very important message that people not forget that when we go to sleep at night, these people don't. And they are constantly protecting us, constantly. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. It is a 24/7 job, and they deserve all of our love and respect. And so that's important as well.
Awesome. Well, you can see Christmas on the Farm December 23rd.
Yes.
On Great American Family. Christmas Under the Northern Lights. That's already played. You can find that. And Jill, thank you so much for joining us today. I pray that you have a very Merry Christmas on the farm.
Yeah.
And that my listeners have a very Merry Christmas as well.
Absolutely. Happy holidays, everybody.
A few practical final notes that I want to share with you about finding Great American Family. You know, we used to get cable, and our cable provider did not carry GAF for the longest time. I called, I asked, and I even pleaded, which I would advise doing if you don't get GAF on your cable or satellite provider. And you know what? They finally got it right when we decided to get rid of cable. Like many families, for us, the cost of cable was just getting too high, and there are some great streaming options out there these days that are way cheaper. And honestly, you won't even miss those big providers. We explored 3 of the major streaming services this year: Fubo, Hulu, and YouTube TV. Now, channel offerings may vary from area to area, so you should check out what they offer in your area. But for us, YouTube TV did not offer Great American Family. Hulu, however, does have it, but it forces you to watch ads on live and recorded TV. Now, obviously, you have to watch it on live TV, but I'm just, when you pause it, go in the other room and come back, it still won't let you fast forward. And yes, I did say recorded TV. Note to Hulu, it's not $19.99. If it was, I would be getting a Y2K kit. I actually bought one of those way back when because I thought it might be worth something someday. And it probably would be if I hadn't lost it. Anyways, so we ended up going with Fubo, which I really love, even though it doesn't have the Food Network and TLC and HGTV, which are part of Warner Brothers Discovery. They lost their contract with those networks, but that's a pretty cheap add-on that you can purchase through a separate app if those channels matter to you. And my daughter wants to be the kids' baking champion, so it matters to her and therefore us. But what also matters to so many of us is finding faith-centered, family-forward entertainment, and Great American Family is committed to bringing just that. So if you are looking for a wholesome alternative to Hallmark, and I know that many of you are because you've written me about it, Great American Family gets 2 thumbs up from me. And hey, look, I know that this episode was all about wholesome entertainment, but don't forget to just turn off the tube and steal away to your favorite vista and spend some quality time with Jesus every day as much as you can. Faith-centered TV shows and movies are awesome, but at the end of the day, they're just decorations. He's the tree. Have a very merry and Christ-centered Christmas, moms and dads, and your kiddos too. I want to thank you for joining me today. Look, I know there are a lot of things you could be listening to right now, and I really appreciate that you took this time to spend with me. I hope you will join me for my next podcast when we take aim at some aspect of our culture that threatens to derail our parenting and steal our kids' faith. If you enjoyed this episode of Christian Parent Crazy World, would you consider telling a friend and sharing it on social media and giving it a good review over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and following me on Facebook and Instagram? Oh, and maybe you could say that Christian Parent Crazy World is the best podcast you've ever heard in your entire life. Just a thought. And be sure to check out my website, which is CatherineSegars.com. That's Catherine with a C. I have lots of articles and resources there that will help you on your parenting journey. And if you subscribe, I will be sure to send you some really cool free stuff and notify you of future podcasts, articles, and blogs. I want to end this and every episode with a word of encouragement. God gave you your kids, your specific kids, for a reason. That's because you hold the key to unlocking who God created them to be. We'll see you next time.
Christian Parent Crazy World is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.
In a recent survey, parents reported that 52% of homeschooled children need learning accommodations. These parents need practical advice, encouragement, and hope to fuel their homeschooling efforts. The Empowering Homeschool Conversations podcast is where parents gain wisdom on how to teach unique learners successfully at home, like Laura, who recently told us, "I needed this episode. I don't need a fancy curriculum or need to be a special ed teacher to teach my son. You have given me hope." To listen now, go to Life Audio or search Empowering Homeschool Conversations on your favorite podcast app.